So let's go ahead and get started with the 3-inch single shot tube. As you can see, this was a connector fuse going into another tube, which would have been within the 9-shot NOAB rack. These are probably some of the most expensive firework cakes on the consumer market, and a lot of people believe that these are scams. Now, I don't disagree with the people who say that because I know that there is not a real 3-inch shell in here, and I've known that this whole time. However, the reason why I try to lean more towards these versus canister shells in my displays is because these go about twice the height of a canister shell, and they break so symmetrical that this is about as close as you can get to a 1-3 professional grade show without having to get your ATF license. So that's a little backstory as to why I use so many NOABs in my displays over canister shells, and it's honestly just because I love that perfectly symmetrical break. But with these things becoming more pricey by the day, I don't know how much longer I can continue to buy cases of these things in my shows. So without any further ado, let's cut right into this thing. Every firework that we're cutting open today has been water damaged and watered down so that there is no way these things are going to go off when we're cutting them open. Again, we want to be super safe about this. So as you can see, I was able to just remove the clay plug at the bottom and peel back some of this cardboard here, which I'm going to pull out this disc, and obviously this is the surface for the lift cup, so that would have gone something like that above the clay. And we're going to try to drop that shell out of there. You can see it down there. So getting this thing out, you can see it does appear like a real 3-inch display shell. But there's a little bit of deception going on here. See the time fuse right there? So this is your lift cup, and essentially the lift powder goes right here in the bottom, and it would have been in between this cardboard and the clay in the bottom. So it sends this entire shell up into the air. But here's the deception. This is not a real 3-inch display shell, and I'll be really surprised if it is. All right, so I got it cut open a little bit, and are you ready to see our 3-inch display shell? Check it out. It's going to be right here. So we have a shell within a shell, and of course this is attached to the time fuse, but this is a 2-inch shell. Now, believe it or not, it gets even worse than this because underneath this 2-inch wrap is a 175 in diameter shell. And you can kind of see that here with the divot, where this is just another filler wrap around a much smaller shell. This is all you're getting in your 3-inch NOABs. I can look past it and justify it for now to get that perfect symmetry up in the air that you won't find in canister shells, but literally this is all you're getting, and this is probably a 30 to 40 gram ball shell in here. So just a quick recap here. This is your 3-inch shell, and this is your actual shell that you're getting within the tube. And moving on to one of my favorite effects in consumer fireworks, this is a ring shell. But it's not just any ring shell because it's not made in a ball shell casing. This is a canister ring. So we are going to be cutting this open as well and seeing what's inside. And down here you've got your time fuse, and this is where your lift charge would have been, with a little piece of cardboard holding all that lift in place. That's what actually sends these shells up into the air. So this is a bit of a longer shell. It is 6 inches in length. Okay, you can see those clusters of stars, if I can get the lighting right. So you can see a bunch of star clusters right there. I'll get you a better shot. All right, I just turned the flashlight on, so hopefully you can see that a little better now. Now I have a feeling that the break is more elongated, so the break charge actually probably comes up all the way to here, and then these stars are carefully placed around the inner casing of this shell. There's only one way to find out though, so we're gonna break it open and kind of let some of it fall out onto the paper here. I really don't want to destroy this shell. Oh my goodness, take a look at this. All right, we'll give it a little twist here, and I'm gonna pull the top away, and you can see this ingenious design right here to get those ring shells perfect on these cans. So all of your break is going to be within the plastic right here. Okay, and then they very carefully, in China of course, place the stars on each one of those little holes, and that's how you get that perfect ring shell up in the air. Okay, so your break is actually housed in this thing, which is down into the time fuse. This is very interesting. So I'm glad that I pulled this one apart, and we're getting stars all over the place. But take a look at that little contraption right there. That's got to be one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Very interesting. That's why we cut these things open, guys. Moving on, we have our 500-gram cake called Wolf Howling to Brocade. It features 25 shots of these whistling shells that go up super ridiculously high in the air, a lot like a consumer firework rocket. And it's got me wondering, are they using rocket engines to propel these brocade shells up into the air that much higher? And we're gonna find out, but this is gonna be probably the hardest segment in this video. But the label is coming away very easily, as you can see. This whole cake was water damaged. So we're gonna pull out this first tube right here, and it looks like that. Now you'll notice this cardboard plug comes all the way to the top of the tube, and that only further reinforces the idea that there is a rocket engine in here, because it would obviously be a lot larger than a lift cup. So we're gonna cut that open and find out. Now there's actually another cake that works a lot like this. It's called Godzilla Roars. I've had really bad luck with that one though. So we're gonna remove this little cardboard piece here, and you can see our shell might just fall right out of there. Let's see, maybe they have it attached to a time fuse. It doesn't look like it. So this is a legitimate rocket engine, okay? And I believe that your rocket fuel, wait a second. Yeah, there's nothing left in there. That tube is 100% hollow. And at one point there was maybe a time fuse connector or something that went down here that triggered a little bit of lift charge to send up into this tube to hit the rocket fuel, which is here. And then this is your brocade brake right there at the top. There's no good way to cut into this either. So that's some really hard plastic, yeah. Yeah, I can't even get the box cutter in there. But we'll get you an up close shot. That's what your layers look like. Of course, this is all clay up here. This is your brocade, and I believe this is your rocket fuel. So when this thing comes out of the tube with a little bit of lift charge to break it out, it triggers that rocket fuel. It sends it way up into the sky, and that's where you get those really high up brocade brakes. Why am I in this tight space? But more importantly, why are you not a member of the channel for the low price of $4.99 a month? There's already a ton of additional content on there, and a special video once a month for members only.